Today on the Diz List, we discuss the top 5 restaurants at Walt Disney World.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that ranks everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Rob, and welcome to episode 26, where we discuss the top 5 restaurants at Walt Disney World.
Before we get to the list, if you've been enjoying the show, please take the time to rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to share us with friends, family, and whoever else you think might like listening. Help us to continue to grow. We've actually had some really great interactions this past week on social media, Rob. Some people... It's funny because we weren't really sure what we were going to record. I said, hey, what should we record, in our next few episodes? And we kind of already had discussed the top 5 restaurants thing. Mm-hmm. And literally the first response I got was from someone saying, you should do a thing about restaurants. So I'm glad we're on the same wavelength. I really am.
So we should we pause it and then actually come up with a list for restaurants? No, I'm just kidding. We already did.
Yeah.
No, we're good. We already did.
Yeah,
we're all set.
The weather right now is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, my wife showed me, she says, look at this. And, she's always showing me something wild on her phone, so I never know what to expect. And she showed me, it was, the U.S. map. And if the area was in red, it meant it was being affected by weather, extreme weather in some way. And I would honestly say it was like 80% of the country.
It's crazy. I think that's why I don't have a problem talking about it, because it's not even localized. This is literally... like 75 to 80% of the country is dealing with this, and I can tell you right now that the wind at my house is among the strongest winds I've seen. That's crazy.
I mean, we're getting it off and on. We have a lot of trees around our house, so we can hear it. We're not quite getting hit as hard, but what's essentially happening here where we are in Western New York is, we're getting a ton of rain, and then the temperature is going to drop, and then it's just going to be like a hockey rink all over. So
should be fun on the roads.
Be safe, everybody.
Yeah. Over the river and through the woods?
Yeah, to grandmother's house.
We skate? Is that what we're doing?
We're going to have to.
We're going to have to skate there.
I think I still got a pair of Bauer skates somewhere I could put back on. I don't think they're very sharp, though. It's been a long time since I've used those hockey skates.
You might need to get those sharpened.
I'll probably step on them and roll both of my ankles simultaneously.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to mention and bring up, while we're recording this is actually we're not quite to Christmas yet. This will be released, right before New Year's, I should say.
Yep.
And we kind of, as Disney people, got a gift this week. Actually, yesterday. Mm-hmm. What was that gift, Rob?
Well, yesterday, obviously we're teachers, and I was teaching my class. I was in the computer lab, and in walks Nick with a big smile on his face, which could literally mean anything. So he comes up to me with a smile, holds up his phone, and there is a picture of the Walt Disney World Railroad working.
Yeah. So cast member previews were yesterday. I'm not sure if they're doing them again today or not. But they had said that they were going to open for the holiday season, and it's not yet Christmas, so I guess technically it's opening for the holiday season.
That's great. So anybody that's maybe going through Christmas and through New Year's might have the opportunity to take a ride.
That's what it seems like. And they did show some video someone showed video on Twitter of them riding through the tunnel near Tron.
Wow.
So that was kind of cool. And I don't know if it was for the preview, they purposely timed it this way, but as you're going through, there are these windows in the tunnel. It's little windows that were there.
Really?
Before they entered. And as they're going in, you see there's these windows. They're like what you would see in a basement. So they're like easement window, or what do they call those? Not easement windows, but it doesn't matter. Egress windows. Okay.
Yes.
They're like those, and as they're going through, you see Tron perfectly
do
a test run through on it, and they're going through the window. They're filming from the train in the tunnel through a window, and Tron. So I'm not sure if they just purposely timed it that way and released that video, but that was pretty cool.
Think about what that would look like at night.
Oh my gosh,
that'd be amazing.
It would be. I was thinking too. I hadn't even really thought about this until I was, at home, and before I uploaded the audio from the last time when we were talking about the railway, and that was that it actually would also give you a great way to get to the front of the park when you're not watching fireworks.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you know how crowded it gets, right? And
Yeah.
don't stand here. It's a walkway. Yet, what does everybody do? They stand there, and then the cast members try to get them out of the way. And,
Or a lady with an umbrella stands in front of you and puts her umbrella up right in your face.
yeah, pokes you in the eye. Either way, it's impossible to get from behind the castle
Yeah.
through the hub to the front in any kind of timely manner when you're talking about that time of night. If you were in the park, maybe you wanted to ride. I know this isn't going to be available anymore, but if you wanted to ride Splash during fireworks and you rode Splash and then wanted to leave.
Or Big Thunder. That'd be a great view, too.
Big Thunder. Anything in the back of the park where
Yeah.
now with that reopened, I mean, couldn't you just jump right on the train and
Yeah,
ride
or
to the front?
Or maybe your kids are tired and you're in the back of the park and you're like, oh, man, I got to try to get through that giant crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You hop on the Walt Disney World Railroad and you zip around and it takes you back to Main Street.
Yeah.
And you get off and you can head home.
I guess I was thinking of it from a purely attraction standpoint and not from the transportation standpoint.
Yeah, true.
So I think it's going to be great to have it back. I'm excited because, like I said, I'm a noob and I have not ridden that.
It's so relaxing.
And I love the Liberty Bell. I know a lot of people don't, but I like it because it is relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it actually it's moving just fast enough to give you some breeze. I love the views of Big Thunder from the Liberty Bell. So I find those kinds of rides like that and the people mover relaxing. I'm really excited to take my first ride on the railway.
That's great.
Yeah.
You'll love it. Your whole family will.
I'm sure they will.
So we're going to take a quick break here, but I know you've been working on lining up some different musical acts.
Wow.
Were you talking with somebody to try to line up?
So, one of my friends was commenting on social media that they felt like we were overlooking someone. And so this week we have Kajagoogoo.
Really?
Yeah. They said they were too shy originally, but now they're going to be playing the Skills halftime show.
Wait, I
Kajagoogoo.
think I hear them. Do you hear them?
Yeah. Sound check.
Wow, they're doing a sound check right now. I wonder what they're playing.
Wow.
There they are.
There they are. Whoa.
We must have really crushed our budget with this one.
Yeah. I spent.
Well, they haven't put out a record in a while. Was this one affordable? Was it within our budget?
It was definitely affordable.
What's our budget? $35 now?
Yeah, 34.
34.
$34.67.
Wow, how much did this come to? We still have to pay the rest of our fees.
$34.66.
We have to pay my mortgage.
Okay. All right, folks, we'll be back after this.
So, in order to get our podcast started, we needed some way to get it out for everybody to hear. So, what we decided to do was go online and look around and try to find someone who can distribute our podcast to all the main services for us. We did a little research and we found that the best one was Anchor. Now, Anchor's a Spotify company, and Spotify is something that I use every day, but it also goes to other platforms. It's an easy way to make a podcast, and everything is right there in the app. So, for example, Anchor has tools that you can record, edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. If you don't have any professional editing software, you can do it right there on your phone. When you host your podcast on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on all the different listening platforms. They do Spotify, but you can also do Apple Podcasts and many more. Okay, students, let's review. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. If you don't have all the equipment and all the computer editing software, you can do it right on your phone. And the best part is it's free, like free, which is great for sure. Go and download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Go for it.
Welcome back. So today we're going to talk about the top 5 restaurants, but the reality is that we have very, very different dining preferences.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit before we started recording. I will lean heavily on Nick for this one, and I think if you're a longtime listener, you know that our family has some dietary issues. We have some people with celiac disease, so we haven't been to a lot of the table service, and which we have recently when we went on our sort of joint family vacation. But I know a lot of the quick service and things like that I'm not necessarily going to say are not going to be on the list.
Well,
so.
I think they're completely okay to be on the list. They're restaurants, right?
Yeah.
You get food, you sit down. I think for me, the only thing they didn't qualify is like the turkey leg cart, or like getting the egg rolls, the cheeseburger egg rolls.
It's too expensive.
Oh my gosh, was that $9.50 or something up to
I
now?
was going to guess $40.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, that's the only thing I would say doesn't for me count as a restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've got a quick service on my list. So.
Well, I do too, actually. But I think Nick and I talk about this a lot and we know what we like, we know what we don't like. I think we may overlap on a couple of them.
That's possible.
And
I
if we
think
do, we can sort of jump in. But I'll kick things off. And for me, this my list was based on different factors, and one of them was this experience was a lot of fun for us. I'm not going to necessarily say this was the greatest food that I've had, but I enjoyed the experience. And what I want to put at number 5, and I don't know if Nick's going to agree with me on this, but I'm going to put Beaches and Cream for number 5.
I don't agree. It's not on my list. I think experience-wise, it was some of the best cast member interactions with my children.
Yes, me too. It was a great experience for us, and we knew a lot about it going in. We knew about the kitchen sink, which is like this giant thing that they literally serve it in something that looks like a kitchen sink.
Yeah.
And it's how many scoops? I used to know at one point how big it was.
Too many.
It basically feeds a family of like 6 or 7.
I can't imagine tackling it with less than that. That's for sure.
And I don't know how many people can eat this. It's this gigantic ice cream sundae. I feel like the ice cream sundae is going to melt before you even get to the bottom of it because it's so huge.
Yeah, have you ever been to a Ben and Jerry's and seen somebody do the Vermonster, they call it?
Mm-mm.
So it's the same thing. For listeners who don't know what the kitchen sink is, but you do know what the Vermonster is, it's the same thing. I can tell you it's about the same size, and I can tell you it took my entire varsity baseball team to tackle a Vermonster.
We went to Vermont to the Ben and Jerry's factory one time, but I was probably like 11 years old or something. I don't really remember it.
Yeah.
But I would put Beaches and Cream as number 5. We had a great interaction, and I can't remember why, but there was some goof up in the kitchen. They brought out my son. He got like rainbow sherbet, this huge thing of rainbow sherbet, and he was eating away. And the cast member comes up and they said, well, there was kind of a mix up, and here's a second one. So sets it down, and like my son's eyes are popping out of his head. He got two giant things, and we all kind of ate off of each other's, and it was fun. And there was no way we even ate half of all the ice cream that they gave us at Beaches and Cream. And also for people that are not familiar with where it is, it's located at the Beach Club, which is one of the resorts that is kind of in the Epcot neighborhood, where if you go out the back door of Epcot, which is it's called the International Showcase entrance. Is that right?
International Gateway.
International Gateway. Yeah. If you exit there, it's the hotel right around the corner. Now, Nick has stayed there before, and I think we went and walked around before, because I think our trip was before your trip.
It was.
So we went over just to kind of snoop and see, here's where Nick's going to stay, and we ended up getting a reservation. And that's the last thing I was going to mention too, is if you want to go there, don't just show up, because there's always a wait list. So make sure you get a reservation in advance for Beaches and Cream. Mm-hmm. Any comments?
The food, I will say, is dinery fare type stuff. It's good, not great. The service, I think, is what really makes it a place that I could see why it would be on your list.
Our server was fantastic.
Yeah, my son, I forget why it happened, but something happened where they brought him out a fake sundae, and the sundae was like chili, a bowl of chili with 2 crackers that made it look like Mickey ears, and to this day, he'll be like, that was the most disgusting thing ever. Can't believe they brought that out, and it grossed me out because I think they put like a dollop of whipped cream or something on top. I don't remember.
Whatever. It wasn't sour cream?
No, because I remember him being like totally grossed out by it, like because it was a joke, and they didn't do it as like he had wanted something in it. And then my daughter had gotten whatever she had ordered was massive, right? And she came out and her eyes got huge. And my mother had said something along the lines of, "You need a bigger spoon." They brought her out a serving spoon, not a tablespoon, not a bigger like soup spoon,
Like a 4 or 5 inch spoon.
one of those big giant, like the things that you have at a barbecue where you're serving like the mac salad with.
Oh my gosh.
One of those big giant ones you get in a restaurant. You know what I mean? And they brought that out for her. So
Please tell me she used it.
Oh, she did.
That's funny.
There's a picture of her like with a whole thing of ice cream on the spoon, and so yeah, the service there is great. They really know how to cater to their to the people that are there. There's a lot of families, so it's a place you can go that you don't have to worry if you're all sweaty and whatever from the day in the parks.
Yeah, and it's indoor and air conditioned.
Yeah,
I should probably mention that too.
Yeah. So it was good. I wouldn't put it on my top 5, but I'm coming from it from a different point of view.
You also have much more to pull from than we do.
But you didn't. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that it wouldn't be on my honorable mention because it would be. I mean, it would definitely be an honorable mention for me.
No, I'm glad you liked it too.
Yeah.
We thought it was an awesome experience.
Yeah.
So number 5 for me is Beaches and Cream.
For me, number 5 is something I believe, based on what your number 5 is, I believe is going to be on your list somewhere. But number 5 for me is Skipper Canteen. Skipper's Canteen is the best table service restaurant in Magic Kingdom. You can't argue that. I don't know how you could possibly argue that. The food is unique. It's reminiscent a little bit of what you get over in Animal Kingdom, because it's got those spices, those like, I don't know another way to describe it other than warming, like those warm spices to them. I am upset that they did take the Thai noodle dish off of the menu.
That was really good. I had that once.
Yeah, and I had it this summer. It's one of my favorites. But it'll come back, I'm sure. The decor in there is great, and it's just enough of that kitschy joke stuff that you get over with Jungle Cruise. You get that over there because the skippers, are supposedly over there too. It's kind of like that. That's the whole theme there. I've lucked out and been able to stay in the SEA room, Society of Explorers and Venturers, twice now. So the reason I like that is because you walk through that bookcase. It's kind of cool, and you get to see the round table there with the
butterflies.
The butterfly table. I've not sat at the butterfly table yet. I was kind of hoping we would last time, but
we were close. We were 2 tables away.
But we had 8 people, so it's tough to fit that many in that table. It's quieter in that room, I feel, than it is in the main room.
Closer to the restroom.
Yeah.
If you have young kids, they can zip right over.
The cast members, I feel, are so knowledgeable about the menu too. I mean, that's true at every single Disney restaurant, but they're really knowledgeable there about the menu. But they're also quite funny. The jokes. I'm not going to ruin the jokes for somebody who's never been there. But they tell the same kind of Jungle Cruise style jokes, which we know that I don't like on the Jungle Cruise. But I don't like them because it sounds like it's being yelled at me through a tin can. Whereas walking through a restaurant is kind of funny.
Could you tell what I said?
Something about the backside of water.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I think the menu is great. It's eclectic. It has something for everybody. And in a park that, you're going to have to do a lot of walking, they have light options that are still filling. I know that seems contradictory, but it's stuff that's not going to weigh you down necessarily. I really enjoy it. I know you like it too, so I'm sure it's somewhere on your list, but yeah, number 5 for me, Skipper's Canteen.
We'll see. Notice I didn't say too much.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. No spoilers, folks. No spoilers. Okay, now, number 4 for me is a place that I've had discussions with Nick about many times before, which I will say we like this place so much that my wife and I decided to go there for our anniversary dinner. Did you know that story?
Yeah, I think you told me one time, yeah.
So we were actually in Animal Kingdom for our anniversary one year, and we decided we would celebrate our anniversary with our kids. Our kids are with us, but that's fine. So we had our anniversary dinner at Satuli Canteen in Pandora.
Look, it's not on my list.
I love
and the
it.
only reason it's not on my list is, at least likely, only reason that it's not on my list is I've only eaten one thing there, and that was it. I had a hamburger pod or cheeseburger pod, whatever
Yeah.
they're called. That was the only thing I've ever had there, and it was, it was really good. But it was in 2019. That was the last time I ate there. It was the first time I ate there, and it was just to get a quick snack. I split an order of that with my wife. My son got some, a drink with boba balls or whatever they're called, boba in them.
Boba Fett's.
Yeah, Boba Fett's in them. I almost said that actually.
Yeah.
So he enjoyed it. I can totally see why it's on your list.
So we are big Chipotle fans because it's very easy to eat gluten-free there.
Yeah.
And you see it being prepared right in front of you. And when we first did our research about this particular restaurant, part of that research is watching lots of YouTube and seeing what the different options were for food. And it reminded us, similar to that kind of style of Chipotle, where they kind of do a bed of rice and then they'll put like beans or some kind of shredded beef over top. And we know that that's something that our kids really enjoy and something that we really enjoy. And I wouldn't say it's a copycat of Chipotle. Oh, gosh, I almost said it like my mother does.
We know somebody else who says it that way too.
Oh, my Lord. But the food is great, and it's similar to what you said earlier, where it has more of that kind of African spice mixed with a little bit of more of the Mexican spice. It's hard to describe. Disney does a really good job of coming up with unique flavors, but I would say if you haven't been there before and you have younger kids, I think it's something that is not too spicy and too drastically different than sort of more of an American style Mexican food. Do you know what I mean by American style Mexican food?
Yeah, I do.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
Not authentic.
we loved it, and there was a lot of different choices. We've eaten there, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times. And I think the only thing I wasn't a huge fan of is one time we got it, and I got it with, it's almost a roast beef that was on top of the meal, because they make it look like it's from another planet, similar to what they do over in Galaxy's Edge. So it has it's kind of like the cheeseburger pods too. Mm-hmm. They look kind of otherworldly, but for this particular one, it was, the bed of rice and the beans, and then there was like maybe a 4-inch circular cut of roast beef on the top. Okay. And it was, I like, and I know you're a big barbecue guy too. I don't like mine undercooked, and I feel like it was too pink for me on top, and I like it. Mine like to be, I like a medium to medium well, somewhere around there, and this wasn't. Now I'm kind of going into the weeds about how I like my my food cooked, but
He likes it dead,
yeah,
dry,
burned to a crisp. But overall, besides that, it's a great experience, and I would say the majority of the things that we have tried there, we all loved, and we will kind of try each other's just to try some different things from all our different family members. But we are a big fan of Satu'li Canteen, and that is my number 4. What do you have?
So for my number 4, I am going to go to a quick service.
All right.
It's a quick service that I go to every single trip.
I think I know what you're going to say.
And it's probably the second one that we'll overlap on, and that's where it'll probably end. But La Cantina de San Angel.
It is not. It is on my honorable mention.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
I love that
I
place,
know
too.
you love that place. Mm-hmm. I like everything about this place. I like the fact that if you, and I don't know why people don't, I feel like more people don't know about this than do know about it. This is air conditioned. It's an air conditioned quick service if you play it right.
Or it's not air conditioned. It depends.
Yeah, it depends.
If you know the secret.
Yeah, so you have to go around the corner and go into the restaurant, the actual table service restaurant during the day.
And not a lot of people know you can even go in there.
Right, is air conditioned. It's nice. You can sit down, relax. If you eat outside in the little patio, I would say look out for the Disney birds because they will literally steal your food off your plate.
They're ibis birds, I think they're called, with the white birds with the orange curved beaks.
Yeah. I've tried numerous things on that menu, and I've loved every single thing I've tried.
Yeah, me too.
I like a good barbacoa. My son loves good barbacoa, and they have some good barbacoa. They have great drinks there. You can get, your margaritas. You can get.
They are good. They're strong.
Yeah, they are. That's for sure.
I was surprised how strong their margaritas were. It's good. Now, I'm not complaining.
No,
I was not prepared with. No, it's like getting kicked pretty hard with it, and it's great. Yeah. Do they make their own tequila?
No, that's over in
Across
they
the way?
don't make it, but they have a special tequila for La Cava over in the pyramid there.
Okay.
But yeah, I personally think that a trip to Epcot, a trip to Disney, is not complete until I have lunch in Epcot at La Cantina.
Me too. And when we were planning our trip together, we both kind of we were like, well, let's go here first, and then we can get lunch over at Sana and Hell. And Nick looks at me, he's like, oh, definitely. I'm like, well, us too, so that's good. It was like that was our lunch place, and we do that every single time, no matter what.
The line also always seems so long there, and that's a good thing, right? That obviously tells you the food's good.
Yeah.
But I think the what's amazing there is that it goes by so quickly. Like the line is not. I don't recall mobile ordering there. I don't know if they take mobile order.
I know I didn't, because I remember standing in line and
it was
ordering.
quick. It was quick.
I had for the gluten-free crowd, and I know we have a handful of people listening.
Well, most of it's gluten-free, really.
Yeah, but I got a shrimp taco last time.
That's on flour.
Well, I got the variety. No, I got them all on corn tortillas, and I forgot specifically what it was, but there was I think it was one was a barbacoa and a chicken and then a shrimp.
Yeah.
And when I got the shrimp one, it was fried shrimp, breaded fried shrimp, which I was like, okay. So I had to pick that out, and I don't have celiac disease. I'm gluten free by choice. So if I take the things out of my food, I could still eat the rest of it and not get sick. Whereas my son and wife would get very sick if they ate something that even came in contact with gluten at all. So that was really only the goof, that if you're into shrimp at all, I wouldn't recommend the shrimp because it was breaded.
But did you ask if it was breaded with flour? Because it could have been corn flour.
It could have been. It didn't look
it could
like
have been
that.
Almond flour. It could have been.
It looked kind of crumbly, almost like the outside of a tater tot, sort of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a beer batter.
Yeah,
like a fish.
and I could have asked. You're right, but we were seated and we were having a conversation. I just said I picked them off. I don't know if I offered them to your kids or something. But I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember, because I remember I got the same thing, and I will tell you that that's enough food for me. Like they don't skimp. Those tacos are full, in my opinion. They have some good sauces to go on them. Salsa Verde is really good there.
It's fantastic.
I love that place. It's a great quick service. It really is. I think
just enough lunch food. It's not too heavy. It's not too spicy that the kids have to run to the bathroom after you have the lunch. So it's good.
Yeah, and you can dial up the spice if you want. Like my son loves spicy food. And
oh yeah, he does.
Right now he's going through his advent calendar. This year was a hot sauce advent calendar.
I didn't even know that existed.
Oh yeah, so he's on number 23 today, and
that's cool.
He's got his ghost pepper ones, and I mean he eats some hot stuff. So for him, he'll put the all the salsas and stuff on there and wants to try them all. Yeah. He really likes it. My daughter really likes it there. It's a great quick service in my opinion. It might be my favorite quick service in a park.
That's a good one. And like I said, it's on my honorable mention. But now my number 3, we've mentioned already, and that is Skipper Canteen. I won't do a big dramatic lead up to this one since we've already discussed it. Skipper Canteen's food is fantastic, and they have a lot of gluten-free options there. And I remember before we first booked it, this is maybe 3 or 4 years ago before we went there, and we've been there twice now, that there was an article we found online. It was best restaurants for people with celiac disease, and Skipper Canteen was number 1 because it had the most options. It had the most variety. So we were like, heck yeah, we booked it. And, we're always kind of nervous going to a new restaurant. And, Nick's family was really good when we were booking the different restaurants we did for our trip, because we did research and found out if there was going to be gluten-free options. But Skipper Canteen was great. I think when you walk in, they do just the right amount of humor, like Nick said, but then they don't carry it on through the whole time, because you're having conversation, you're kind of relaxing, you're kind of hitting the reset button to be able to go back out into the heat again. And they'll do little jokes here or there, but they don't lay it on as thick as I thought they would.
Yeah.
I thought everything was going to be a sarcastic joke.
Well, it's not like going to prime time, right? Where you're getting made fun of or yelled at for your elbows on the table, which I will refuse to eat at a restaurant like that, especially with my kids. My son would be like mortified. And so, but at Skipper's, it's like just the right amount. It's on your walk to the table, they'll joke. And they might tell you a couple of their jokes like about some of the stuff, but it's a good mix. It really is.
I feel like they hire people too who are funny and have social skills enough to be able to kind of recognize who this family is. Is this family laughing as you're telling the jokes on the way to their table? And you can kind of read them. Okay, seems like a family that wants to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you have a dad that maybe, I mean, it can be us, but this usually isn't us, who's going back hard with all the jokes and trying to be funny, they'll kind of go to battle with that dad a little bit. But no, and seriously, we're just kind of there and laughing and having a good time.
Yeah, it's a great meal.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's a great break because it's a park you maybe don't want to leave. And
I have one tiny little criticism.
Okay.
And that is between the first time we went and the second time we went, the portions were a little smaller.
Well, I mean, Christine McCarthy.
I know.
It's good for your waistline.
I don't know. I want to fill my waistline back up. But that was really my only thing. I would say it's a fantastic one. I love it. I love it so much that it is number 3 on my list. So what do you have for 3?
So my number 3 is a restaurant that I immediately fell in love with the minute that I ate there this past trip. We flew into town. It was like mid-morning and went right over to Disney Springs, and we had a reservation at Boathouse.
Oh, nice. I've heard a lot of good things.
That place, if we had one nearby, I'd be there all the time.
Great.
It's expensive. I get it. It's you're paying signature dining type prices. It was so good.
What did you get when you went there?
So
did you get seafood?
I started off with oysters, which was just absolutely phenomenal because I love a good oyster. We had a mixture of things on the table. We had some seafood. We had some steaks. We had my son got filet mignon sliders.
What?
Yeah, they're petite filet sliders. They were like a steak that you can bite through like a burger. I mean, Come on now.
Sounds great.
It was by far the best meal I've had in Disney Springs, and that's saying a lot because there's some good meals there. I just personally think that dining experience is great. It can get loud. I'll say that it certainly can get loud in that dining room, but it's a really, really nice place to relax. I like all the restaurants in Disney Springs, but that one in particular jumped out and was like, oh my gosh, I've got to come back to this.
I have one on my honorable mention, and that was Frontera, where my wife and I, again, we go a lot of times when it's our anniversary, because our anniversary's in August. And we went there for our anniversary one time, just the two of us. My family took the kids, and that place was fantastic. Nick's showing me a picture right now of these sliders. I didn't know what to picture in my head because when I think sliders, I think mini burgers, but I didn't know whether or not they were in a bun or not.
Oh yeah, it's like literally 2 pieces of petite filet on a bun with these ridiculous fries, and like Rob can attest to this. The mound of fries that you get with this, they don't skimp on portions there. And
they're the shoestring fries, which I really like too.
Yeah, and I had seared mahi, or seared ahi, I should say. It was so good. They did it just perfectly.
So last question with the sliders, just because I'm curious. Mm-hmm. Is it just bun and the slider, or do they do like an A1 or some kind of house? So I'm just curious because it's more. It seems like it's something that's more burger related. Is there a sauce? If Nick's making a face right now, but I'm just wondering.
Filet, you don't put A1.
I don't know. Like I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
Like
I can't recall. I know that my son doesn't like a lot of condiments on his meat.
Sure.
So I can assure you that his were not adorned with any kind of condiment, and if it was on the side.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is on the menu, but I do know that my son would have immediately said, I don't want that on there. He just doesn't.
Well, for the record, I'm not putting A1 steak sauce on that either. A1 for me goes on like a steakum thing that you get that are frozen.
Steakums,
like,
oh my gosh.
That's the only thing I'll put
Throwback.
A1 on.
Yeah.
Or
Cube
mustard.
Steak. Cube steak.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, or mustard.
That's another good one for mustard.
Okay.
I don't dislike the mustard.
Just okay.
It's number 3. I still like it. I didn't take it off of the list completely. A1 is off the list completely.
There's a callback, folks. If you've been listening along, you know that this is an argument waiting to happen. Boathouse. If you haven't been there and you enjoy table service, you need to go. That's where I'm going to stop and just say that. I hate that. This is weird. I hate that I went there and liked it so much because it means that
you got to go back and spend more money.
Not that. It's that it's going to be very difficult for me to pick a different place to eat at Disney Springs, and there's so many good places to eat, and I'm like,
well,
man, I really want to go.
Then you got to build in more time off where you can do one day at Boathouse and one day at wherever else.
That's
you
why I'm
go.
saying I hate it, because it's that good. It is definitely a place that I would go back to again and again and again. They've got a great wine list. They've got a decent beer list.
I feel like you talked about that Irish food place a couple times too. I can't remember what that one was called.
Been. Raglan Road.
Did you talk about that once?
No, I think that might be. You're confusing us with our friend who's been there before.
Oh yes.
But yeah, so that's my number 3 is Boathouse. What do you got for number 2?
My number 2 and number 1 could really be interchangeable because I love them both so much. But I think at the end of the day, one ended up being the clear winner for a specific reason I'll get to in a moment. But my number 2, I have eaten at this place for breakfast. It is very famous for breakfast and not quite as famous for lunch and dinner. But my favorite place, my second favorite place to eat at Walt Disney World is Ohana.
Really?
Yes. I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Okay.
And I'm trying to read where you're going with this, if this is even on yours.
This is not even. I will tell you that
it's not on your list at all.
No, and it would barely make my honorable mention.
Oh my God, I love this place so much, and not just because of the giant plate of shrimp that I devoured.
Yeah, I've eaten there. I'll go ahead. I'll let you.
No, it's fine. And hey,
I'll let you talk about it, and then I'll give you my 2 cents.
We loved it. We loved it for a lot of reasons. We loved the breakfast food. It was nice that we could eat. We could probably eat 90% of what was on the menu for breakfast, which was great. And I mean, and keep in mind here, and I this is for our listeners, and Nick knows this too, but we have a food allergy. And for us, when we go to a restaurant and we can eat like 90% of what's on the menu, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So when we have our breakfast, we get a little bit of everything. You know, there's the different meats, there's sausages and bacon and eggs and all things that are, kind of naturally gluten-free. So when we had our breakfast there, it was great. I don't know if it was the French toast or the bread or whatever it was, we couldn't have. So we told our server, who is fantastic, by the way, we told our server we couldn't have it, and he brought out these gluten-free donuts that were like these cinnamon donuts, which were so good. We ate so much food. They had to roll us out of there. And then we had dinner there one night with Nick and his family, and I've told this story before on the podcast where I ate more shrimp than the size of my head. I just kept eating it and eating it. It was that, and it was steak, and it was broccoli and rice and all these different things that were, gluten-free. We didn't have to worry. We ate and ate, and nobody got sick. It was fantastic.
Yeah, at the end of the meal, Rob looked like Big Al.
I did. Yeah, and I even had the guitar too.
Yeah.
But I can go on and on about how great it is, and I think Nick understands kind of where I'm coming from here with having that freedom to just eat whatever on the table. And I also understand why it wouldn't be on somebody's list too. That makes sense. Yeah. But for us, we're mega excited for that reason. First time we went there was our first time bringing the family, and I had been to Polynesian before, but they hadn't been there before, so it was really exciting for them. It was just a really nice day for them to experience the Polynesian Hotel. So I won't go on too long about Ohana, but
I'd like to. I
love it.
I would like to say, because I don't want people to think that I don't like Ohana. I just want to explain where I'm coming from. First of all, I 100% agree with you about the breakfast. I think it's got a sleeper breakfast. It's expensive for what it is, but it's really good. It's a better, for me, it's a place that I would like to go to for breakfast solely because it's not as loud as like your Chef Mickey's or whatever.
Yep.
It's got the kid interaction when they do the little parade around the restaurant. The food is, it's your standard, all you care to enjoy breakfast food at Disney. Dinner, I feel, suffers from service. So they rush you.
They do. You're not wrong about that.
They kind of make you feel like you're annoying them because they can't turn over the table quick enough.
Yeah.
Which bugs the heck out of me. Like, I don't want to be rushed. And when you're talking about all you care to enjoy and you're rushed, you end up enjoying too much because you feel like you have to eat it, and then you're stuffed before your brain even realizes you're stuffed.
And we eat fast to begin with because we're teachers. I mean,
right.
We have this conversation a lot.
Yeah. You got, 10, 15 minutes to eat your lunch.
And that's what we do every day.
So
I sit and have lunch with Nick every day, and we have such a short amount of time that we just scarf down whatever we're eating for lunch.
And so for me, if the service changed, and I feel like also it's not as good in the current iteration of the way they cook the chicken and the way they cook the beef, because now you're not getting, used to be they would come over and they would serve it from the skewers. And obviously, pandemic and that doesn't make as much sense. And so you're not getting, I felt like it was overcooked, I guess is my thing. But you even mentioned that you like medium to medium well.
I do. Everything seemed golden to me.
I like somewhere from medium rare to mooing.
Yeah,
is what I like.
And that's fine. Like this, I'm not one in this specific instance to say that's wrong. Like I understand that like everyone has their own preferences with how they like that cooked. Like if they brought me a burger and it was charred around the outside and black, I'd be like, sweet.
Yeah.
Because it's, everyone likes it their own different way.
Yeah,
and that's good.
And I think, look, it's a good restaurant. For me, the service has suffered greatly. But I will say, the bread pudding, which your family cannot partake in.
I've had it before. Mandy's family used to have it all the time too.
It's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, her grandmother used to make that. So I've had it. And
quick hack, if you want some, and you don't want to go to Ohana, or if you want just the noodles, or
I always want to go to Ohana.
Well, right, but listen, if you only want one part, like if you only want the sticky wings, you only want the
I would even mention the sticky wings.
Yeah,
those are so good too.
The sticky wings, the noodles, the pot stickers. If that's all you want, or if you just want the bread pudding, go to Tamboo Lounge. That's the little lounge outside of Ohana. Sit at the bar, get a drink. You don't have to sit at the bar. Actually, you can sit in the little area that's more toward the lobby, and they'll have a server come over. And you can order those. You can order the Ohana bread pudding. Usually, you can get the pot stickers. Sometimes the noodles, not always. I've been told before, no, we don't have any noodles today, which is weird. But
because they do back in the kitchen.
But the pot stickers I've gotten, the sticky wings I've gotten, because we're owners at Poly, so I've frequented Tamboo Lounge and I really enjoy it. But I don't always want to have to spend the money for a Ohana dinner. But man, that pineapple bread pudding with I can't even talk. It's so good. My mouth is watering right now. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
All right. What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is a restaurant that is borderline quick service, but it's not quick service. It's table service. And I say it's borderline because cost-wise, for a family, it's about the same. And that's Via Napoli. I've talked about Via Napoli a lot on this show. Yep. Via Napoli is a great place to eat as a family. If you want good Italian food, you can get some good Italian food there, but that's not why I go there. I go there for the pizza. The pizza is the best pizza on property, and it makes me hate the fact that the rest of the pizza on property is awful, because this pizza is really, really good.
So what's your estimate of sort of the diameter of this pizza?
So, I don't get a circular pie when we go there. And I hate that I just called it a pie because it's not a pie, but whatever. That's just me. I don't like calling it pie. But they get they have like the half-meter pizza, which is like insane. Wow. So it's like your typical kind of sheet pizza type stuff. The bottom is so crispy. If you like a good Neapolitan style pizza, go here, right? And get, we usually split the half and do like, okay, well, one half we'll do like pepperoni or something, and then we'll get like a pizza margarita on the other half. Or
does the crispy bottom mean it's wood fired?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
I know a little bit about that, but I know you know a lot more about that stuff specifically.
In those big giant, so they have 3 big giant ovens that have faces on them for like they're the mountains of so there's like Vesuvius or Vesuvio and like I can't remember. I'm probably wrong. Doesn't matter.
I haven't eaten there, FYI. So this one's all Nick.
The pizza is like the best. It's literally the best pizza I've had outside of New York City. They bring in water from Italy.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. The attention to detail.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Their dough they make, the day ahead, so it ferments for the day, so it's a little bit more. It's certainly glutinous, right? And that would be an issue for you.
Yeah, I have no clue if they even have the ability to make something gluten-free there.
I'm sure they do.
I've never even looked into it.
I'm sure they do, but I can also guarantee you it's not the same. Like, I wouldn't even have bothered saying, hey, let's try to go there and get you some gluten-free pizza, because I can't speak for it. What I can speak for is that their regular pizza is absolutely bonkers good. And I've had some arancini there that was pretty good, but that's not why I go there. I go there to get a big old pizza that my whole family can enjoy, and it's not expensive. I can't remember off the top of my head because I know that's probably the next question, but like it was certainly the cheapest meal. It's the cheapest table service meal we have whenever we go.
That's great.
And it's just it's great. I love this place. Love it. So, run, don't walk is what I would say. So that brings us to the big guys, the number ones.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And
what do you got?
I'm not even sure if this one's going to be on your list.
I can guarantee you it's not.
Okay.
Because I can guarantee you didn't put what I have number one.
I hope this one's on your honorable mention, because this was like one of our most fantastic experiences.
It is.
You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, it is. It's on my honorable mention, but it's not on my list.
Good. If it was not on your honorable mention, I would be shocked.
No.
Because this
is number 6.
As far as food goes, the food was good. Good to great, I would say.
I would put it at,
right.
High good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. We agree on that one. But my number one is Tepinetto.
Yeah.
And I think you knew I was going to say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the main reason that this one is number one is just the experience was incredible. I mean, this would probably be, I don't know if I'd say top 5, but top 10 coolest, most fun experiences we've had at Walt Disney World.
I will say that it might have been the most memorable meal I think I will ever have at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
I mean, seeing our son's reaction to the show.
Funny.
The pictures of them.
Oh my goodness. It is great. So, I mean, it's a Japanese hibachi place. They cook the food right in front of you. These Japanese cooks that come out. Is there a specific name for them? Do they have like I'm saying
Chefs?
I'm saying cook or chef. I don't know if they.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a Japanese word that's used for them. But we had the room that we were in. I think there were 4 different prep tables.
There were,
and all 4 of them, I would say, put on a completely different show and had completely different styles. Now, if you're listening and going, "What do you mean by show and styles?" So if you haven't experienced this before, these Japanese chefs come out and they have knives and spatulas. They'll juggle them. They'll spray the oil on the cooktop and make these giant flames or smoke. We had one of the chefs next to us actually chopped up onions to make a giant Mickey Mouse head. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic. And, I'm kind of watching out of the corner of my eye, the other 2 in the back. I'm not going to say anything specific, but they all had kind of their own different style and different flair. Mm-hmm. As, let's say you get, 4 different rock and roll singers. They all have their own distinct, Axl Rose is going to sound completely different than Robert Plant. And that's kind of the way these are. They're kind of artists, if you want to put it that way. It's a performance, and like our sons, we've never seen our sons have the expressions on their face of shock and awe and wonder and excitement. And everybody else enjoyed it too, but specifically both of our sons, they were on the opposite end of the table, so we could see them clear across. And part of the show not only was the Japanese chef and juggling knives and spatulas, but like just seeing our kids and what an awesome experience it was for them was like, I mean, that alone was worth the price tag for the entire trip, but Yeah, Tepanetto. Keep in mind, folks, you gotta your finger has to be on the trigger if you want to get a book that specific place.
Yeah, it was not easy to get a reservation for.
It's in Japan, obviously in Epcot. It's way in the back. It's on the second floor, and highest of recommendations to experience that. It's expensive, but it's it's incredible.
So the reason that it's not on my list is because you can experience something extremely similar, if not completely similar. Because if you get somebody who's not doing Disney-ish type stuff with it, then it's the same as you and I could experience, in the nearest city, right? Mm-hmm. At any old hibachi, for a little bit less. Now, hibachi in general is expensive, so I don't think it's that ridiculously boosted in price, considering how expensive hibachi generally is. Mm-hmm. Food was great. It's definitely number 6 on my list, but the reason it didn't make the list had to do more with the fact that, I can experience something very similar, if not the same, for a little bit less money locally, and not have to be awake at 6 a.m. 60 days ahead of time,
ready to click that button.
Yeah, ready to pull the trigger on that. Yep. So that's the only reason that it didn't make it higher than 6. My number 1 should not be a surprise to anybody who's listened to me talk about this place. So Tepanetto, I said was probably my most memorable meal. Mm-hmm. By far the best dining experience, the best meal I have ever had at Disney, if not ever, period, at a restaurant, was Topolino's Terrace.
Yep.
That dinner.
I knew you were going to say that too.
that dinner was phenomenal. The server was great. Now, look, I get it. This isn't for everybody. Not everybody is willing to drop the money on this meal. If you have a special occasion and you're looking for a place to go and you're thinking, do I want to do California Grill? Do I want to do such and such? What do I want to do? Topolino's has to be in the discussion. It is so good. Their servers are so knowledgeable of everything on the menu that you can tell them the kind of stuff you like, the stuff you typically eat, and they will give you recommendations. The appetizer menu, all the way through the dessert menu, is really amazingly creative and themed to the Mediterranean. The desserts, I can speak to every single one of them because we ordered literally the dessert menu. When we got done, we said we need to try everything. It was an expensive meal. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it was a cheap meal. It was not. We were there celebrating my mother's birthday. It was a special occasion, so I don't regret the money we spent on it. But by far the best meal I have ever had at Disney. And like I said, if it's not the top meal I've ever had, it's certainly the top one I can remember ever having at a restaurant. It's that good. We walked in there with kids, and the server was really pleasant with the children. And, my son is a foodie, really. And so
he is. He's telling the truth.
So, here he is.
I don't know too many 5th graders that are foodies, but he definitely is.
Here he is at 9 years old when we're there, and the chef asks him, what he would like, and he's probably expecting him to order off the kids menu, and he's like, I would like the filet. And the guy's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I want the oak-fired filet, and I would like that medium rare. And so he talks about that particular meal still, just like I do. He loved it there. He can't wait to go back. So, yeah, Topolino's Terrace is my number 1 restaurant that I've dined at Disney World.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into it and see what options that we'll have. But, I'm down to try anything, as long as there's options for us and we can eat there too. We're always looking to try new things, but we weren't always like that.
Right.
For a long time, it was we're going with what's safe. But from what we found from going around Walt Disney World is any place we eat, so the chef will come right out if they know that there's a gluten allergy or shellfish, peanut, whatever. The chef will come out and say, you can have this, 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 and this, or we can change this to make it work for you. And I can't think of a time at Disney that any of family member has had a reaction to anything that we've eaten.
Yeah.
And that's really, really good
Yeah.
statistic to have.
Yeah.
So
what's on your honorable mention? Do you have any?
well, I have a couple. I mentioned the cantina already, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. The food around Galaxy's Edge, I think, was pretty cool. I don't think it would be on my top 5. I like the uniqueness. I like the experience. I mean, the bar was great. When we went to Oga's, that was a lot of fun. It wasn't really like food kind of a restaurant. I don't know if you could consider that or not.
No, I wouldn't.
We had breakfast over there at the name's escaping me right now. It's the one with the big pod racer engine, and that our breakfast there was great. And then the other place that I put on my list that I would probably never choose to go to, but it was awesome, was Tiffin's. And we got the gluten-free churros there, and I got tacos, which had the kind of spices you were talking about earlier, where it's kind of that warming sort
African,
of spice.
yeah.
It's African spice. It was so good. So those are a couple of the places that I really liked a whole lot. What do you have?
Yeah, so we've already talked about a couple of the things that were on my honorable mention, right? The Tepanetto, obviously, and I personally kind of put Beaches and Cream on my honorable mention just solely based on service. But the one that really didn't make my list only because I ran out of room was Homecoming. And Homecoming is by Chef Art Smith over in Disney Springs.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it too.
And it is really good, like down home country cooking.
You almost walk by it. Like it's kind of around the corner from Blaze Fire Pizza and like that kind of area.
Yeah, it's a great location. It's
almost, it looks so normal and natural, and it doesn't have like a giant sign or
no, it's not obnoxious.
No,
it's not.
It's really it looks great. I mean,
yeah, the food's great. The atmosphere's great. I ran out of room, honestly, on my list here.
Yeah.
And quite literally, you run out of room when you order there because you get Christine McCarthy is not running any sort of a game over there. They are definitely giving you the full size portions. If you want some fried chicken, they've got a crazy. They have instead of chicken and waffles, the chicken and donuts. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, but that's an honorable mention right there.
Fried chickens are specialty, right?
Yeah, that and just like barbecue type stuff.
Yeah.
And they have like a moonshine bar, which is kind of cool. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.
Welcome back to Diz List. That's the podcast. Can we start over?
I don't know. I kind of want to leave it. All right, we'll use this at the end.